Hi, I'm Alonso Duralde, and I have a list of the best Christmas movies since 1990.
I'm Bran, and Alonso doesn't have the best list. I have the best list.
I'm Dan, and Alonso may have a list, but I have the list of the best Christmas movies since 1990, and this is the Dis List.
This list.
Check the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody.
Oh,
welcome to another Dis List.
This list.
To show everybody how important
Alonso.
the Dis List is, we flew Alonso in.
Yeah, we did.
We said
It
that
is-
we can't do this virtually.
And you were just here for Bramble Fest.
I had to
Bramble
get
Fest
back
starts
on
today.
another
Bramble
plane.
Fest is, I'm sorry, Bramble
It
Fest
starts
is
today, yes.
Bramble
No,
Fest
okay.
is today. You were here, and we were like, we got to do this too.
We would never do a bit where we act
No,
like Bramble
Heaven
Fest is already
forbid,
happened.
no.
We would never do that.
We respect the
Never.
calendar too
Yeah,
much.
that's right. That's right. How's it feel to be in Greenville here on the East Coast, Beast Coast?
Always a pleasure. I mean, I'm having a much cooler summer at home, but hey, I get this is what you get when you come to the South. So
It's what you get.
It's a nice trip.
That's what you get.
Well,
It's
welcome.
true.
We're glad you're here. And it's very important. The reason why you're here is because you have brought a quote unquote best list of movies that came out since I was born, basically.
1990.
Yeah, essentially your lifespan.
Well, we know how much you love lists.
Oh, yeah,
Big
my
fan
favorite
of definitive lists. He even said a list instead of the list in the intro. But you always come to us with actual cinema, like films that Brand should have seen, but they are in black and white, so he hasn't seen them. Today, we decided what would be fun is instead of you saying these are the 10 best Christmas movies and neither of us having seen half of them, you have to give us movies since 1990.
Right.
Now, is there a chance we still haven't seen them? Yeah, but we've done some research here. I will say that does eliminate some Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story,
Sure.
Die Hard. There are some movies that are close that are not allowed. How hard was it?
Not that hard, really, because this is my area of expertise /
Have you
obsession.
written a book about it?
I did write a book about this
Wow.
kind of thing.
It's unbelievable.
So, and quite a few of those were since 1990, and then of course there were all the ones that were since the book, because that book came out in 2010.
Yeah,
So.
Now, does this list include any Hallmark movies?
It does not.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's rightfully so.
Did any come close, maybe?
No.
I got to ask the question.
Okay, you got to ask. You got to ask.
No,
Because he also has written a book about Hallmark Christmas movies,
I
too.
have,
That's
and
true.
I think there are a lot that are terrific. But when I had to narrow it down to 10, no, those movies did not make it up here. And we've written a book together. I've been podcasting with you guys for years. We've done other shows. I like to think we've become friends over that time.
I think so.
Okay,
I think
all
so.
right.
Yeah, that all ends today.
Yeah, it is
Wow.
Because I know that there is no way I'm leaving this room without one of you yokels trying to jam Home Alone 2 on this list.
What?
And
Home Alone 2's on your list? Alonso?
Spoiler. So I suspect at some point I'm just going to have to ask you to tribute this episode to Alan Smithy, because I just don't want my name on it.
Okay, fairly. That's really good. You got that joke.
I absolutely did. A quick reminder of the rules. Alonso is going to give us his top 10. After that is all done, Dan and I are going to be able to make some changes to that list, including two switch
Two
them ups.
replacements and two flips.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
And
we're going to pitch both of those lists to Alonso, and then he's going to have to choose one of our lists.
Yes.
Right.
And so what I have to decide here is, am I playing to win or am I playing
For
to
integrity.
make him mad? And those are some things that I have to decide.
I've got good news.
Because I've played to win, I think, every episode so far. And I think we've both won.
You've got me. I think you're 2-1.
I think that might be right.
It might be 2-2.
It's very close.
It's close.
Do I care? That's what I have to decide. And so I think where Alonso's list goes is going to help answer that question for me.
I also think, then this is good news for you, he can't possibly add Deck the Halls, Christmas with the Cranks, and Jingle All the Way. He can't add all three. He has to make some tough choices with his crappy movie selection.
I just that was the sound of me dying.
Can I just really quickly?
Yeah.
Deck the Halls
da.
wouldn't get played.
Okay.
It wouldn't get played.
Yeah.
Okay, you get that. At least.
We've been down that road before.
Yeah.
I love that you
watched that
made
episode.
that distinction like the other two would in your list.
They're on the table at least.
That's terrible.
They're in the
You ought to be
conversation.
ashamed of yourself.
Along with
fans
Polar
of this-
Express.
Fans of the show will have already heard Brands and my conversation about these very films.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
y'all know where I land
forgot
on
about
that.
Polar Express. I guarantee
Guys,
you that's not on this list.
everything's at least on the table. That's all I'm saying.
I'll go so far as to say Christmas with the Cranks better than Polar Express. That's my hot take.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. That's my guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Gun to
my
my
guy.
head, sure.
okay, there we go.
yes.
There we go. We got him on
All
board.
right.
Want to get this thing cracking? We want to do
Why
this?
not?
Number 10 on your list, Alonso. Here we go.
Number
Philo.tv/DTH.
Oh.
Okay.
Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, which Daniel and I did on a film and a movie.
We sure did. Yeah.
This is an original musical for Netflix. It is a multi-generational tale about an inventor and his granddaughter who sort of brings him back to life after he has shut down when a scheming former assistant has stolen all of his toy ideas. This movie is... just explodes with color. The songs are terrific. It's maybe a little long, but I appreciate the ambition, and I think it's a lot of fun.
Jingle Jangle. Brand, did you think we were getting that today?
No, I didn't. You guys, I think, were both higher on that movie than I was. But I do appreciate the movie. A Christmas musical is not only a fantastic goal. It is something that I think was made for me. I agree with Alonso. I do think it was a smidge on the long side. But overall, a really solid movie. Is it top 10 since 1990? That's another conversation.
Sounds like it's a no for you.
Would it be on my list?
No. Yeah.
But I can understand it being on a list. I just have to decide if I'm okay with it. I think I am.
I did a little bit of research, not a lot of research, a little bit of research on the topic because I felt like I was probably going to know all 10 titles or at least most of them. And in my little bit of research, Jingle Jangle probably would have been an honorable mention for me. So very close. Okay. I did love this movie. I think it starts so well and it ends really well. It is kind of like similar to is it Spirited? Is it the movie? It seems to have one or two too many numbers.
Maybe.
And maybe like less than that and short up a little. But I don't mind this at all. I think there's a lot going for this movie. The performances are great. Forrest Whitaker is it's fantastic. I do love this movie. Happy it's here. Not mad at you right now, Alonso.
Okay.
Not mad at you. Brand.
That'll come.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
That'll come.
Oh, I love this.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
What could you have played from these next 34 years here that's going to really make me angry?
Well, okay, maybe not angry, but I think there will either be an eye roll or I have no idea what that is.
Okay, there it is. Yeah. Now that I'm expecting one. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
All
Fair
right,
enough. We ready for 9?
Let's see if it comes in at number 9.
Here we go.
Number 9 is...
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Let's go.
This is the directorial debut of Shane Black.
That's right.
Who loves Christmas. Like if you've seen Lethal Weapon, if you've seen The Long Kiss Goodnight, you know he loves to work Christmas into an action movie. So of course, for his first time in the director's chair, he totally goes there and would again. And when directing Iron Man 3, also starring Robert Downey Jr. So yeah, this is a movie where Downey plays a New York criminal who is on the run from cops and manages to run into an audition, and he's so hyped up and in the moment that he gets the part and he gets sent to Los Angeles to star in this action movie and gets caught up in a conspiracy, runs into an old flame played by Michelle Monaghan, who's great in this, and is taken under the wing to sort of learn cop stuff from a private detective known as Gay Perry, played by Val Kilmer.
So great.
I love this movie. It is the great LA at Christmas movie in terms of just like the utter artificiality of, icicles hanging from a palm tree. And it's funny. The banter is just like
Zippy.
so fast and so smart and sharp. And the plot is labyrinthine and fun. And it is constantly reminding you that it's Christmas time in a city that doesn't look like Christmas at all.
Brandon, have you seen it?
I have not seen
I've
this
been telling
movie.
you to see it for a long time.
I have a feeling I would feel some, maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen it. But
There's a lot of guns and blood and death. in
which
this
I'm
movie.
okay
Yeah.
with. And we'll talk about one of those on Monday with Violent Night.
Violent Night, that's right.
My concern would obviously be, is it Christmassy enough for Brand? I don't know. I don't know if it would be.
Pretty Christmassy.
Okay.
Pretty Christmassy.
Okay. If you guys say so. I don't know.
I adore this movie. I might move this higher. Like I had, I think 5 or 6 that were definitely ahead of this. This movie's great. Val Kilmer is great. Robert Downey Jr. is great. Michelle Monaghan's great. Shane Black in his element. A little bit Pulp Fiction, a little bit of that like Barry, a little bit of that darkness, but also fun, Christmassy, hysterical. The banter is unbelievable in this movie. I tell people about this is one of these movies I bought on Blu-ray at the time just to pass around to people and go, you've not seen this?
Have you seen this? Yeah.
Here you go. Take this, go watch it. And every time, I've never had someone watch it and go, man, that I just didn't, it wasn't my vibe. It is one of these movies that is just so funny, but it never loses the plot. Like he made a movie with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. The other was
The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys. The other guys is the Will Ferrell. The Nice Guys is fun, but it never reaches the heights of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Agreed.
It is one. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is like does everything. You can watch it all year long, but it is a Christmas movie. Love this movie. Love this movie. Alonso's crushing it so far. Crushing it.
He's crushing it.
That's right.
Let's see if it continues.
How are you going to get all your picks on here, Brandon?
I'll have to be creative.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
For sure.
Number 8. Dan, could you get that?
I got it, man. Maybe.
That was an interesting way to do it.
Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. Do either of you guys know this movie?
Never heard of this movie.
No, I don't know this movie.
Okay. This is a Finnish action movie about the discovery of the actual Santa Claus in a way that is terrifying and monstrous. Basically, there is a threat of like these Laplanders who are these kind of Santa zombies who will take over the world, but can also maybe be retrained to be mall Santas if they play their cards right. Wow. And it's a little kid and his dad and this oil company whose explosions have unearthed this like terrifying. This is like if you like Krampus, this is that brand.
Krampus is a fun time.
Like creepy, funny, horror Christmas movie.
So I forgot something, Brandon. I can't believe I forgot it. Alonso doesn't limit his Christmas film watching to movies without subtitles. He's going to watch movies from the entire globe, even at Christmas time.
I know.
And so I don't know how many foreign language Christmas movies I've seen.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to a foreign language film. I'm here for it, but because of the comfort of Christmas, I guess I just don't think. I'm trying to think of one that I've seen. I literally. So there may be more than 1 or 2 of these that we don't know. This sounds like a fun time to me.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's right up my alley. It sounds like I would love it.
The director has gone on. He had a film that was in theaters this year or last year called Susie. That was like a war movie that people really liked. He did one.
Oh yeah, it was completely quiet. Like the dude doesn't say a word the whole movie.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. And the one where like Sam Jackson is the president of the United States whose plane gets shot down over Finland and somebody has to like rescue him. Yeah, so he's this guy is like becoming a very up and coming action dude. But Rare Exports is very Christmassy but very dark. And fun.
2 out of the 3 of these are really dark, Brian. How are you feeling about that?
I'm okay with it. I think I want to see this movie, so I will watch it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
And I think we can both say safely, it's safely on your list. I don't know why I would get, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's not fair for me to. I don't know.
I can.
You can take,
sure, I will leave it to you. But no,
you're going to take something off like that because you've not seen it and put something on.
I do think that both of y'all have a really great time with this.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's do maybe one more. We'll
take
a
break.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Dan?
I like a break here.
You like a break right here?
I like a break right here.
Let's do a break right here. We'll be right back here on Diss List. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Diss List. Alonso has brought his list of the top 10 Christmas movies since 1990.
That's right.
So far, we have Jingle Jangle at 10, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang at 9, and Rare Exports at 8.
Have you ever made top like your top 10 Christmas movies of all time list?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
No. I again, Dan likes to goof on me. I hate making lists.
Hates making lists.
And even with this, like if you ask me next week, I would probably give you different titles or in a different order or whatever.
I would be curious, and clearly there's not an answer to this. How many of these movies would make your all-time list? Like of these movies.
Oh wow.
So that we can get to that later.
Yeah,
but
I
there's
don't know.
something to mow on. Let's right now though get to number 7.
Let's do it, Dano.
Shall we? Number 7. Here we go.
It is another musical.
Spirited.
Spirited.
We did review here on the program.
That's
We
right.
did.
And I know it's not Brand's favorite. But I have to say, like this movie, now that I've had a couple of holidays to revisit it and stuff, I really enjoy it. Like, yeah, is it a little long and does it maybe have one or two songs too many? Sure. Does its reach occasionally exceed its grasp or vice versa? I can never remember how that phrase goes.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But man, I love the ambition here. I think that when it's on, it is on hard. I think the songs are really fun. I mean, this movie is so overstuffed that one of the best songs runs over the closing credits.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't put it in where it was supposed to go without making the movie even longer. I think it's funny. I think that Farrell and Ryan Reynolds both run the risk of making you sick of their shtick sometimes when you see it in sort of lesser movies. Like when you see Ryan Reynolds doing his thing in something like The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard or something. It's like, eh. But I think in this one, they're on it and they're in a movie that knows what to do with them. There's a lovely romantic subplot between Will Ferrell and Octavia Spencer. There are genuine stakes of doing a kind of take on A Christmas Carol here. It all works. I just love
all
this
works,
movie.
Bran, at number 7. How you feeling?
I get it. So in, what was it, 2002? 2001. When did it come out? I'm sorry, 2022 or 2022?
1?
20.
Whatever year it
One
came.
big year since COVID.
Everything since
2022.
COVID is
22.
like
Whatever
last week or 10
whatever
years ago.
year it came out, I was in I'm annoyed by Ryan Reynolds mood. And
It just seems like you've lost your Christmas spirit, Bran. You have nothing on this list to be excited about.
Can I continue?
Yeah,
Can I
man.
continue?
Fake trees.
Fake trees.
And so at the time, the
care
things
anymore.
that hit, to Alonso's point, hit really hard in that movie, and they were great. I have since weirdly softened to Ryan Reynolds recently.
Okay.
And I'm excited to rewatch this movie with less annoyance at what he does when he's doing movies. And so I'm excited to rewatch it.
Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he should
And
F
by the way,
off.
I just want to be clear. We're doing this list before I've seen Deadpool versus Wolverine. That could change everything. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sure.
Of course. Yeah.
No,
yeah, of course.
I'm okay, I think, with this movie being on the list.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I'm kind of appalled this is above Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I liked it more than Jingle Jangle, for what it's worth.
I liked it more than Jingle Jangle too. The first time I saw this movie, when they get to the Good Afternoon musical number, which is a great number, in the first watch through, I was like, I get why this is funny. I get why they're doing it. Do we need it? This is one too many. We got things to do, places to be. And I felt like it was stretched. Second time through, I enjoyed it a lot more. This would probably be, it's better than Jingle Jangle. It would either be like honorable mention 10 for me. There's enough to like here. And I think to your point, everyone involved is not there for a paycheck. Like they have decided Christmas musical, pulling out all the stops to the nines. Everybody is on their A game here. And listen, you're right. Like Will Ferrell has been in some clunkers. But when that guy decides not to just try to make his buddies laugh, he's like Adam Sandler. Like when he tries to not make his buddies laugh, more than capable.
And of all the Apple movies I've seen that clearly had an obscene budget.
Oh my gosh.
Give me this over like Argyle or Fly Me to the Moon.
I don't want to talk about Argyle.
Even Napoleon,
I don't want to talk about Argyle. I'm still like, that's maybe one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Dreadful.
Like,
but
so
this
terrible.
one, it's all on the screen.
Yes.
Like the insane amount of dancers. And also like, I think one of the coolest things they do in this movie isn't even something that required a lot of money. The flashlight dance in this movie.
Is amazing.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of like high school production sees on something like that. Not necessarily high school productions of this, but that I'd like to see that happen.
A High School Musical.
But just the idea of like doing something that's cool that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
I also think. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just gonna say, not seeing this one on the big screen, I think also
It
hurt
stung.
me. So
I did get to see the first time I saw it on the big screen.
It's so big, and now that you said it, I'm reminded that while I was watching it, I was also just frustrated that I couldn't see it on the big screen.
And you don't like to watch movies at home anyway.
I don't.
Yeah.
So.
I hope it enters the rotation as like,
Yeah.
when your local theater that always shows Elf, that always shows Christmas.
That would be
Vacation,
great.
It would be great if they started showing that.
And also, like, I just know enough about Brand to know, like, your favorite moments in Christmas movies tend to be softer and quieter, and like whatever that may look like. Like, you always talk about Christmas Story, the Christmas morning, and playing the song. That's your jam.
Yeah.
There is not a movie that gives you more Christmas for your minute than this movie.
Sure.
There is.
It's maximalist.
It is absolutely maximalist, and yeah, I love it. I think I definitely would have like. Every movie after this, I'm judging against this one, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And so I like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang more. I think it's so unique.
Okay.
But yeah, I dig it. We're on good terms here right now, Alonso. I think it's going to get serious here.
I think it is.
We're starting to get into the territory where I feel like there's a few non-negotiables that I think are going to have to be negotiated.
Could be. Things might heat up.
Because I have a list of 5. I've not seen any of them yet. So interested to see how this goes.
It's time for number 6. Let's see number 6. Dan's pulling it off, and it is. I can't see it.
Christmas again.
Oh, okay.
Another one that Daniel and I did on a film and a movie, and I think, Brand, you've probably still not seen it.
No, I've
in the
seen
trailer.
it. I've seen it. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, that checks out.
All right. Yeah. So this is a very quiet indie film. Tucker Audley, who's a very talented actor and filmmaker, plays a guy who is running one of those little New York sidewalk Christmas tree concessions. And he's sleeping in the trailer. And
It's like if a Hallmark movie was real life.
Exactly. Like, fur crazy, but an indie.
Yeah.
And we don't really understand at first, like, why he's so bummed out. But as more customers start showing up, they're like, hey, is that girl who was here with you last year around? No. And so that, and we get the occasional like flashbacks to that relationship and stuff. And over the course of this holiday season, he winds up meeting somebody else who's also in sort of an emotionally vulnerable place. I just think this movie is so beautifully understated and haunting. And I love that. One of the things that I love about Christmas movies is they come in so many flavors. They can be big, broad musical like Spirited, very quiet, tamped down, wintry, long stretches of people not talking, movie like Christmas Again. But I think just beautifully put together, and a film that has stayed with me, that I've seen. It becomes, if I don't watch it every Christmas, I watch it almost every Christmas. And I was glad that we got to talk about it in relation to It's a Wonderful Life, of all things.
Yeah.
But I think that it offers the sort of redemption narrative that we watch Christmas movies for, just maybe in a slightly different way.
Yeah. You didn't finish this movie.
No, I actually started it a couple years before you guys did it on Film and a Movie, because it had Christmas in the title, and I looked it up, and it was like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this seems
only like 85 minutes.
This seems like
really
it's going to be
short.
great. And then I just kind of got sad, and I turned it off. And it's like, I'm fine with sad movies, but I didn't want it for my Christmas. I was looking for something else, and it wasn't that.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't want to watch Manchester by the Sea at Christmas time, but I still love Manchester by the Sea. So maybe if this was another thing, I'd be like, I would be all about it, because I can get there. It's just when I turned it on, it wasn't what I wanted. And so, not fair to this movie, but I'm not fair to movies. And so why start now?
Christmas is only Christmas if it's Brand's way. And I've said that for years.
More or less. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's not Christmas spirit. That's the problem.
That's what Christmas means to him.
That's right. To him.
That's right.
Yeah.
My love.
This is a really good movie. I always forget about it, and you always bring it up, and I'm always like, oh yeah, that movie's really good. At the time I watched it, I found it to be a minor classic, like a 10 of 10 on a 4 of 10 degree of difficulty kind of situation. But I remember after watching it, thinking about it a long time after I watched it, which typically with Christmas movies, it's all cotton candy, and that doesn't happen. Right. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be on my list. I'm not mad at it per se. I think If I really love the top 5, then I'll probably like find another use for this. But I also, if I'm like, there are more important things. I don't think a list is bad because it has this on. Sure. You've not committed the crime that I think everyone else has, which is here's a terrible thing on this list that belongs nowhere near. You know what I mean? Like,
but I love
yes,
it.
That's right. Yes, everyone else we've done with this,
maybe in the top 5, who knows,
has done that. But you have not, which is wild because I think I have a movie on my list that I think belongs in the top 10 that you would think is that. So. I know Brand has a truckload, so I'm fascinated.
Brand has nothing else.
Because I do, like, this is not a bad, I think if you're someone that likes a melancholy indie Christmas film, that's a very specific subgenre, I think you'll have a great time with this movie. And I think it is a stripped down, it probably costs less than a Hallmark movie, in all honesty.
No
way
question.
less.
Yeah.
But it's a really good, well done movie. So yeah.
For what it's worth, we're 5 deep at this point. My top 10 has not been touched by Alonso. And you know what? I love them.
To be fair, mine, I didn't make a full 10. I made like 7 or 8 non-negotiables, in my opinion. Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang, Spirited would both be on my list. So
okay,
there you have it.
We'll get to at least one that y'all can wholeheartedly embrace.
Everybody's going to be on board with at least one of these. I think the same thing, but I didn't want to say it. Let's get to number 5. Top 5. Here we are. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good answer. Good answer.
Call it recency bias, but I have to say 2023 is the holdovers. Delivers.
Oh, yeah.
And it took me a couple viewings to really understand it. The first time I saw it, I was like, meh. But then when I saw it again, I realized I had gone in, no offense, with Bran eyes.
Yeah.
And I was expecting more sort of like,
that'll get you.
I was expecting more kind of traditionally Christmas oomph. And this movie's not interested in that. But it's interested in other things that really work and that also, I think, work as a Christmas movie. Paul Giamatti plays an unpopular boarding school teacher who is stuck taking care of the kids who were stuck at the school over Christmas break in the early 70s. And it winds up being one kid. And so it's Giamatti. It is Academy Award winner Davine Joy Randolph as the head cook of the school, who is dealing with her own personal tragedy, and this one student who is dealing with his own family stuff. And the three of them kind of come together and see each other through the holiday and help each other out with the stuff they're dealing with. And the answers aren't easy and the resolutions aren't pat, but it is very affirming and redemptive and all the stuff that you want from a smart Christmas
Let's
movie.
go. Absolutely.
So I know I've done a lot of talking here about, what I'm looking for in a Christmas movie. And with everything that Alonso just explained, you might say, Brand, this probably wasn't your deal, right? Well, what you need to know is I love Paul Giamatti.
Me too.
And
probably in a different way than you do.
Fair. I don't know, man. So Paul Giamatti.
Don't put words in Brand's mouth.
I said probably.
Paul Giamatti, and then just the overall Christmas aesthetic of this movie, mixed with powerful storytelling. I actually have this movie a little bit higher than you.
Wow, okay.
That's how much I loved it. This movie, it just has such a wonderful vibe, and Paul Giamatti is perfect. And so I adored this movie.
I have it at 1.
Wow.
I have it at number 1.
Wow.
This movie slaps.
Are we all crushing on Paul Giamatti?
That sexy beast, Paul Giamatti? You bet. Look.
Can I change my hall pass from Danny DeVito to...
Probably a wise move. I think we would all... I'm just saying, if Giamatti's on the table.
I know.
Here's my thing, is this movie is very Christmassy. It's not, you got to understand, you and I both thought a movie was Christmassy enough a few weeks ago that Brand didn't. What movie was that? We just watched it. You were like, that's not a Christmas movie.
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me
If You Can. And it's like, yes, you have to do some work to understand the importance of Christmas. This movie's a Christmas movie. Snow everywhere, Christmas trees everywhere, this fun piano that plays some old Christmas carols.
Lonely people on the holiday.
Yeah. It's all the marks. The performances are outstanding, but the depth of character that we're getting here is amazing. The fact that as you look at the movie, I love a title that means two things, that they're held over here at Christmas time, but all three of these characters are held over in life. They all have not been able to get past something that happened in their life. For the kid, it's his dad. For Davine Jordan Randolph, it's her son dying. For Paul Giamatti, it's what happened when he was younger at school there. All of these characters are not wanting to move forward. They're being held over at Christmas time. The writing is superb. Alexander Payne, I love his movies by and large. This just slaps across the board. This is a perfect Christmas movie. I didn't want it to end. It was 2.5 hours long. I loved it. I laughed. I cried. Everything you want to do in this movie, remember, forget, dream, laugh, cry. It's all here. Number one for me. The Holdovers. Freaking love this movie.
Dan
Absolutely.
and I saw this movie in theaters together, and when the movie starts, there's like a relatively long zoom-in shot of the snow, and I just go to Dan and I go, yeah.
Yeah. He establishes the heck out of 1970s Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I left the theater and was just telling everyone I knew. Like, I think I came into work the next day and I was like, hey, Aaron, if you've got the time, find a way to get to the theater to see The Holdovers. I was just, and she did. You went that week. Great, right? Fantastic.
How about that?
It's so good.
So better than Oppenheimer, you're saying?
I will say my top 10 for the year last year, Oppenheimer won, Holdovers 2.
Okay.
Those are my top two. I need to look to make sure that's accurate, but it was either 2 or 3 for the year. So close.
All right.
Like very, very close to being there. It is that good of a movie. I mean, it is one of the best Christmas movies of all time, in my opinion. Yeah, it was number 2. Okay. Number 2. American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, Across the Spider-Verse. Those are the 5. So like, it's amazing. It's an amazing movie. Love it. And in fact, 5 seems like a slight to me. I'm fascinated what the top 4 are, but I'm glad that we got that in.
Let's do 4 and break
4
before
and then
3.
break
How
before the
about
top 3. I love that plan.
go.
Number 4.
Todd Haynes' Carol.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
I didn't even think about this. I'm sorry. I didn't even think about this.
1950s lesbian romance based on a pseudonymous novel by the great Patricia Highsmith, who wrote Talented Mr. Ripley and Strangers on a Train.
Yep.
Rooney Mara plays a young woman who is a photographer and a department store clerk who meets a mysterious, glamorous older woman, Carol, played by the great Cate Blanchett.
That's right.
And the two embark on an affair, even though it's the 1950s and not the greatest time to embark on a lesbian affair, especially if, like Cate Blanchett, you are trying to not lose custody of your daughter. This movie is beautiful and wintry, and Christmas, I think, plays a... oftentimes I talk about Christmas being the juxtaposition, when you're doing a horror movie or something about like family secrets or darkness, Christmas is that cheerful, white snowbank that reflects everything more vividly, and yeah, I think this is one of the best films of the last 20 years. I'm a huge Todd Haynes fan, and the performances are great. I think it delivers on all the period stuff, and it ends in a way that I think is redemptive and uplifting in a way that a lot of queer films have not been allowed to be. So yeah, Carol, love it.
Well, you put me in a tough spot here, Alonso, because 1, I haven't seen it, and 2, now I'm faced with, do I kick the lesbian couple out of the top 5?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Think about the optics
this
brand.
is tough. This is tough. I'll have to do some thinking. It sounds great. It sounds like a great movie.
Am I wrong at how much Christmas is in this movie? Is there a lot of
There's
Christmas?
a lot of Christmas. I mean, they meet when Carol is buying like a train set.
Yeah.
And she leaves the gloves and then the lunch.
I like this movie a lot.
On the cover.
I don't know what to do here because I like this movie a lot. It never even crossed my mind. Like I just looked at a bunch of lists for Christmas movies and it didn't show up on any of those lists, so my memory wasn't jogged. Sarah Paulson also wonderful.
Sarah Paulson great.
She always, every time she shows up, she's wonderful. I don't like
what's it? Kyle.
XY. He doesn't have a belly button.
No, Kyle Chandler.
Kyle
Chandler.
Coach Taylor.
Clear.
Jake Lacey.
Yeah.
Really
It's really good. This is a good movie. I mean, I don't think
you
even
just
if
question the Christmasness of
the
it.
Christmasness of it and then the ranking of it, it's weird because as a movie,
Sure.
but as a Christmas
movie,
these other movies, That's tough. That's a tough spot to be in. I got to do some thinking there. Because, I love Todd Haynes, too. And I'm not mad at this pick. I'm mad at it being 4, but I'm not mad at this pick overall. I think this would have been one at 10. I'd have been like, oh yeah, great pick. And at 4, I know I have work to do.
Understood.
So fair enough, man. We got some. You haven't even seen.
Man,
these movies,
Dan, us straight white guys have a tough
got a
job
time
to do.
When is it going to be your moment?
I
can
know.
assure you, barring some crazy shenanigans, Carol is moving down on my list, and I don't feel bad about it at all.
Wow.
That's just who I am.
Fair.
Let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll make some guesses.
We'll make some. Ooh, okay.
I guess some
I love
guesses.
this. I love this.
We'll be right back here on the This
This list.
Hello. We're back. We're talking about the top 10 Christmas movies from 1990 that, according to Alonso.
Anyway.
A lot on the list so far, 10 to 4. Anything in your mind that is missing?
Yeah, so I think
that you would expect
the
him to play.
elephant in the room here is Elf. I think Elf is a movie that I know Alonso does like. I know that about him. And until The Holdovers was always my number one, especially from the last 3 decades. And it's my number 2.
Unaccompanied Minors.
Unaccompanied Minors
has to make the list.
If it makes the list, that's
top 3.
No, God, he can't. I didn't even think about it.
I mean, that was my number 1 thought.
Unaccompanied Minors is a fine movie.
Alonso's going to do a bit here. He's going to put Unaccompanied Minors at number 1.
Dude, this got real. It just got real just now.
I think we'll see Unaccompanied Minors, Elf, and then a movie we've never seen.
And then you think he's not going to include Home Alone?
Oh, there's no way.
There's first Home Alone.
I don't think he's going to do it.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think he's going to do it.
Elf is my one non-negotiable here. I feel like he's going to have it on the list. Right. I feel like I know Alonso well enough. He's a dear friend.
Here's 3.
Alonso's going to have it. Number 3, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
God. Oh, I don't even like this movie.
Oh, what?
I don't even like this movie.
I thought you hadn't seen it.
No, I've seen it.
When did you see it?
God. With my children 2 Christmases ago, and we watched it again last Christmas. Oh.
I love this movie.
Oh.
This movie makes me cry every time I see it, and I think it's so funny. It is Aardman Animation doing the story of Arthur.
Might be my least favorite Aardman.
Oh, did you see that soccer one?
I did not.
Okay, yeah. So this is Arthur is Santa Claus's younger son, voiced by James McAvoy, and he's the brand of the family. He loves Christmas, very much into the spirit of the whole thing. But his older brother, who's voiced
Hugh
by
Laurie, right?
Hugh Laurie, is set to take over, and he's very sort of Six Sigma about the whole thing. Like everything's super organized and code numbers and, got it all organized down to a T. But then one girl doesn't get her present and everybody else is like, one margin of error. What are you going to do? And Arthur is like, no, we're getting her bike that she asked for. And so he, Bryony, a gift wrapping elf, and Grand Santa, his grandfather, Bill Nye,
the best part of this movie,
set out to deliver this one last present. And I love the way this movie looks. I love the way this movie makes me feel. I love the Christmas steepedness of the whole thing. I understand there are people out there who don't like this movie, and I don't understand them because I think this movie's great. What's your deal, man?
So in the words of debates, Dan, your name has been mentioned.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond?
I think, and I do think it's a difference of opinion. I think it starts with I don't like the way it looks. And maybe it's an Aardman thing because I love Aardman stuff.
Sure.
And this looks really slick for the time it was created, but doesn't age well. Mm-hmm. Whereas their other stuff ages incredibly well. The idea, I think, of Santa becoming a military operation being the big thing in this movie where they don't say it's wrong. Like I think in a movie like The Santa Claus where it's like turbo tank and it's like that's clearly wrong. The fact that we've just militarized Santa basically. Like he's a Marine and he's getting the toys done because that's what's important to do the job. And we have to figure out what the heart of Christmas is about. We spend an inordinate amount of time doing the militarization part of Christmas, which I stopped thinking was cool after about 10 minutes. And I wanted to get to that James McAvoy, Bill Nighy stuff a lot sooner. And then I feel that part is rushed. And when it hits at the end, it doesn't really hit for me. And I know it is subjective. And this movie seems to be split with a lot of people, I think. No one is just like, it's okay. Like my kids asked to watch it, and I try my best to not give them my opinion. I try my best to go, great, guys, let's watch it. But I find something else to do. It is not for me. It doesn't work for me. The look isn't right. It just isn't what I want from a kid's Christmas movie or a Christmas movie in general. The first movie on this list that I actively would avoid were it on TV.
Yeah, I know this is a movie that has caused a schism in many a Christmas movie podcast.
That's right. Yeah. Brandon loves it, though.
I love this movie. Weirdly enough, my kids don't really care for this movie. And maybe that is like an animation thing or something that doesn't like click with them.
You should watch it with
Dan's kids. That's right. Listen, they can come over anytime. They know that.
Man, your kids need some Christmas spirit. You're not giving them much at home. They can come over and...
Since he's lost it and all.
I love this movie. I watch it every year. Me and my wife we love it. There's something about it that just really works. It is higher on your list than it is on my list, but it is
in America or anywhere.
It is in my top 10.
Wow.
It is in my top 10. So
I can't wait to hear your top 10.
Well, I gotta work with his. So it's a lot to do, but I like this play a lot.
Wow.
I'm happy to see it on
number
list.
3. Alonso, don't hold it against me. That's going off the board. It's going off the board. There's nothing I can do about it. We're not
Man, I gotta be honest though. Moving a top 3 is always a bold move.
It is, but I can't believe he put. I know you like the movie. Mm-hmm. I can't believe you put it at 3. Man, there's some really good movies up there.
Because if we're talking about like feels,
yeah. Well, we our rule here on this list is best is favorite. People don't like that, but for this list, we do a bit about the definitive list, but these are
it's not objective, it's subjective.
That's right. Best is favorite. And so if you really are drawn to this more than the others, God bless you. I
have a very special memory of seeing it for the first time.
Okay.
Because it was for some reason they had the press screenings of this and like one of the Twilight sequels back to back.
Boy.
And so
isn't that a dream, Aaron?
I remember seeing this with my good friend Gray Drake, and we're both like leaving the theater sobbing and running to the car to go to the other movie.
That's great. And got to get to Twilight.
Did you see it in 3D?
I think I did.
Boy, I haven't seen it in 3D.
That would have done so. I'm a huge 3D guy. Brand isn't.
It gives me a headache every time.
Anytime somebody wants to go to a 3D movie, which is never in my life ever, because my wife said nobody likes, I'm always like, yes, I don't really care what it is, I'll go. Like Kong versus the new Kong movie, I saw in 3D. Movie sucked. 3D was amazing. It was great. I'm here for it.
I could turn it around. I could turn this.
Maybe that could help with some of the, because they have like the sleigh, the new version of the sleigh in Other Christmas is like the Starship Enterprise.
Yes.
It's this massive thing.
It can camouflage.
Yeah, I just was like, I didn't care. I'm not in. And I've seen this movie a handful of times.
I would think that you would kind of like the militarization of the operation because at least it helps it make sense. Like Santa can't do it all himself, so he needs all these elves.
I think my problem is the movie lives, and this is too big of a criticism for a movie for children, but the movie lives in a liminal space of not damning it or using it. I think I wanted it to either be like, we optimize Christmas, let's keep optimizing it, but not forget the heart, or he's a terrible dirtbag human being, and I want James McAvoy to run the show because all of the efficiency in the world doesn't save Christmas. Well, I wanted one of those two.
I think that what we're left with is the idea of you need the heart and the head.
Yeah, I agree.
And that the head should be running the operations, but the heart should be running the show.
That's right.
We know a little bit about that, don't we?
That's
right. Yeah, like I have the heart and the Christmas spirit, and you have the brains to.
Thank you so much for saying I have the brains. Oh wow!
Another one here.
Elf.
Okay,
at number 2.
Everybody can exhale now.
Oh my! What is number 1?
That almost makes it
if
like
Unaccompanied
worse.
Minors has won, this table might be flipped over. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, no.
I see the outline of a white poster at 1. The Unaccompanied Minors does have whites.
If Paul Feig directed the number 1 Christmas movie in Alonso's list, those are fighting words.
Don't answer, Alonso. Just let the suspense build.
No.
Oh, I'm getting so nervous. Talk about Elf, Alonso.
I mean, look, what is there to say about Elf at this point? But I think that what is so great about it, and that I think what we take for granted about it all this time later, is that this is a movie that rides a fine line between sincerity and irony. And
Yeah.
I think it could have easily accidentally tipped into one or the other, and they figure out a way to not do that. And that's something of a miracle, frankly. And so I think this movie comes out of a very sort of 90s snarky place, but at the same time, like, has so much sentiment that it is able to push past the cynicism of its moment and be an all-timer the way that, you know, Miracle on 34th Street is, which is a movie that it directly, you know, is quoting at times. It is just,
you know, we hear more and more about James Caan and Will Ferrell not liking each other. Will Ferrell, Jon Favreau not liking each other. The movie lives on the tightrope of the tension between James Caan and Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell wanting to make Old School but Christmas. James Caan and Jon Favreau wanting to make a Christmas classic for kids of all ages. And the movie is better for it. I'm sorry they fought.
Yeah,
Every time I see one of those stories, you posted one in the Double Decker group. Every time I see one, I'm always like, I hate it for them. That's what made this movie great.
But you always hear, like, very often when the set is smooth and everybody, like, get along and, oh, they had such a great time doing it, the movie sucks.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, sometimes you need the sand to make the pearl, you know?
Yeah. This movie slaps. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh no, it's a perfect Christmas movie. It's fantastic. And if you're a fan of Elf, which I don't know who isn't, and you haven't watched the movies that made us about Elf and the making of it, run. Don't walk.
I've not seen it.
Oh, it's great.
I need
it's a
to
great
watch
watch. Great behind the scenes stuff
Okay.
about this movie, how it was made, how it almost wasn't made, and all of that stuff. It's a great watch.
Yeah, this movie's amazing. If I was doing a ranking of my all-time Christmas movies, including, you know, It's a Wonderful Life and whatnot, this movie would still be in the top 5. It would. I think this movie is perfect. If my 7-year-old can watch it and love it, if when I saw this movie I was 21 or 2, I loved it at 22, I love it at 40. This movie's every quadrant. I don't know how many quadrants there are. Yeah. I know Quad says there's 4. This hits every single quadrant for Christmas movies.
And that's why I'm the brains.
That's right.
All the demos.
I have the Christmas spirit. He has the brains. That's how it works.
All right.
This is it. This is, I mean, I don't know what the F you're about to do here.
Before we unveil number 1, I just want to say that, like, I love all of these movies.
Oh, no.
And my number 1 is not necessarily my number 1 movie based on the Christmas of it, although the Christmas of it is great, but it is, I think, the best movie on this list.
All right.
He went with best.
Here we go.
The best movie.
Alonso, do you want to do the honors?
Sure. Why not?
Here we go. Number 1 is...
Oh, thank God.
A Christmas Tale, the one movie with subtitles that Bran has ever watched.
Un Conte de Noël. Conte de Noël. There's no accent. You're right.
Catherine Deneuve plays a matriarch who is dealing with a rare illness, and as her family gathers at Christmas, there's a transfusion involved that is usually something that parents donate to children. But even though she is an elder woman, she's like, well, you guys all owe me your lives, so one of you is going to give me this transplant. And it brings together the contentious members of her family, including the son, Matthew Amalric, who's been sort of the black sheep and has been literally exiled from the family for the last 5 years. There are so many characters and so many little sort of sub-dramas going on. And what's so great about what writer-director Arnaud Desplechin does here is that I'll watch this movie again, and I've seen it many times at this point, and find myself rooting for different characters. Like a character who I think is a victim of the family in the first movie, and another viewing, I'll think, well, no, you kind of had it coming. And somebody who I think is like awful and selfish, I'll be like, you have a point though, you know? And so that's the richness of this movie, is that these characters are not all good or all bad. And the way that they interact with each other, just the way that this movie captures what a full family house at Christmas is like, with multiple generations butting up against each other and doing the odd little traditions that only your family does. The performances are great. It is set in one of the not nicest places in France, like a very industrial small town, but the house is glorious. The way they decorate it is glorious. And I just find this movie moving and funny and insightful. And it is a legitimate great film that is also a Christmas movie.
There you have it. Bran, you've seen this movie. I've
seen
not.
This movie?
We did it on 25 Weeks of Christmas,
no.
Bran. You've seen this movie.
Oh, no.
You're like 100% sure?
I'm positive. Take it to the tape.
take it to the tape. The tape don't lie.
Nothing about this.
French,
is
French
ringing a
family, the little kids and the wolf pretending there's a wolf in the basement. The nothing
I
really
love it. It's
nothing.
still not clicking.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've seen it. I swear you've seen it. We've reviewed it.
bell. Okay.
Brian.
Great. I love that.
Glad to know that it stuck to you like glue.
Brian,
Yeah, that's popping
what
up.
are your big
It's popping
thoughts
up
after
right there.
seeing this movie?
I have no thoughts. Dan?
Yeah, this sounds great. It sounds like a time that I would really love, and I hate that I've not seen it. I would like to watch it. I might move it from number one just because I would love to see L for Holdovers up there, and I think that's fair. Even you hedged a little on saying it's the movie that I think is the best, not the one you necessarily go back to the most. So I think I have some wiggle room with Alonso there in shuffling its place. But yeah, you have it at one. You say it's the best movie on the list. We disagree on stuff, but that's enough for me. I think I want to see it now. I'm going to add it to the list. And of course, Alonso's bringing us a foreign language film as the number one Christmas movie of the last 34 years. No one would have thought otherwise. I don't know why we would have thought
But I
anything
thought,
else.
well, at least Bran has seen it.
That's right. Yeah.
Surely he'll have memories and insights about it.
But he didn't, gang. He didn't.
Yes.
What?
So just so you know, you watched it
Yes.
in June of 2022.
Great.
Okay.
And the caption was, "Will Bran be able to handle
Yeah.
French
Will I be able to handle it?
subtitles?" And I guess the answer is no.
I wasn't able to handle
The
it.
answer's a hard no.
I had to go back and
That was
listen.
only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember everything we saw from Kiss Memory from filming a movie. Like I feel like.
You remember everything significantly better. That's not a
And I
good
have the
metric
Christmas
at all.
spirit. What are you
It's not a
bringing?
good metric at all.
All right, Bran, you got some thinking to do.
I do have some thinking to do.
Now remind me again, who gets to do what?
We're both doing our own list,
Right.
So we're both going to take two movies off of them and
Okay.
replace them with two of our own.
Okay.
And then we get to, after we do that, we can flip the order
Of two.
of two films twice. So we could I could flip 1 and 10, and I could flip 2 and 8 if I wanted to.
Okay.
And then we're going to pitch you that list.
Okay.
And you have to choose one of our two lists as the final list.
Okay.
That's what's going to happen. Bran, are you ready?
No, not even close.
Okay.
Are you? Are you ready?
I am close to ready.
What are you pondering through?
I know the two I'm taking off, and I
Okay.
know one that I'm putting on. I don't know the other one I'm putting on. Because he's going to hate it. Whatever I choose, he's going to hate. All right. I think I know what I'm doing.
All right, hit me.
Okay. So first, I'm going to tell you this first. I'm taking Arthur Christmas off the board, and I'm taking Christmas Again off the board.
Wow. Okay.
Those are the two I'm taking off the board. Now, I've not seen Rare Exports, and I've not seen Un Conte de
A Christmas
Noel.
Story. A
That's
Christmas
fine.
Tale.
Christmas Story. But I trust you enough there. This one sounds interesting. This is number one. I want to respect it. So Christmas Again, Carol and Christmas Again were what I was debating here. Carol's the better movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking Christmas Again off the board. I know you love that movie. It's just one of these movies that is a Christmas
It's
movie.
not your top 10.
It's just not top 10 for me. The two movies I'm going to put on this list that are currently at placeholders 3 and 6, but will not stay there, are at number 3, A Muppet Christmas Carol. Now, Michael Caine in this movie is one of my favorite Scrooges ever. He's so good in this movie. This movie scared my kids at 6 years old. It still works for me to this day, even though everyone but Michael Caine is a Muppet pretty much. I love this movie. I love it. I love the Muppets. I always have. I think Muppet Christmas Carol represents some of the best that the Muppets have ever done. It's not going to stay at 3, but right now it's at 3.
Okay.
At 6 is the Santa Claus. Now, I know. I get it. I get it. I understand the Tim Allen of it all.
That's not even an issue. Like, I like that movie.
I saw the Santa Claus at 10 years old. Brand and I talk about this all the time. We disagree on a lot around the office, but what we don't disagree on is that the Santa Claus is the preeminent Santa Christmas movie. It is what the North Pole looks like. It is the lore of Santa. This is the one that every other one relates to in our brains because of how old we are. I love this movie at 10 years old. I love it now. The sequels are trash. Brand still stands by the second one. I watched them both last holiday season. They're trash. The first one is great. Tim Allen is great. The guy that plays Bernard that was also in Oppenheimer,
David
but you
Krumholtz.
wouldn't recognize him. The movie just crushes across. Judge Reinhold. I mean, come on. I love that movie. That movie's at 6 right now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch Gosh, I can't get everything I want. That's what makes this tough.
I can go if you
All right,
need
go
me
ahead.
to.
I'm
going to
think about what order I want to switch
All right, here's
to.
what I'm going to
Okay.
do. I want to do a couple of things really quickly. Brian, I'm sorry. I'm not putting Christmas with the Cranks on this list. I would have loved to have tried, but there's just not enough that I can do, and he didn't put enough. He didn't put enough in to make it to where I can just do things. So I had to. I gotta do what I gotta work with what I have. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm not gonna touch your 9. I'm sorry, your 10 through 6. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna get rid of. Sorry, your 10 through 7. I'm not going to touch. I'm going to get rid of your
He's
number
not going
6.
to touch any of the ones you don't care much about.
I'm not going to touch. That's exactly right. I'm going to do a bold move here, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
only
are.
going to mess with 6 through 1. Number 6, I'm getting rid of Christmas Again, and I'm going to replace it with Home Alone 2. Not Home Alone. Home Alone 2.
The better
Lost in
one.
New York.
The better one, yes.
The better movie.
Yes.
And then from there, I am going to swap Home Alone 2 with Carol. So Carol is now going to be 6, and Home Alone 2 is going to be number 4. I'm also going to change the holdovers, and I'm gonna swap holdovers and Arthur Christmas. So Arthur Christmas is 5, Home Alone 2 4, holdovers 3.
God, I love that.
Number 2 is Elf, and I'm going to get rid of your number 1 because if I've seen it and I can't remember it, I can't in good faith keep it there saying, get lost, French film, and I'm putting in Popo Shiso, the Santa Claus number 1. So I am doing
You're putting Santa Claus at 1
dang
overall.
straight, baby. Jingle
The only
Jangle.
surprise is that it's not surprising.
10th, Jingle Jangle. 9, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. 8, Rare Exports. 7, Spirited. 6, Carol. 5, Arthur Christmas. 4, Home Alone 2. 3, The Holdovers. 2, Elf. 1, The Santa Claus. And I like that a lot.
Brand, I love your list, but Alonso, I think I got you. I think my list is better. I think it's just better across the board. And I'm going to tell it to you in a second, but I have one question for you.
Okay.
You have Santa Claus is a better movie than Home Alone 2.
I do.
Okay.
It's
I
very
do
close.
too, but it's really
It's very
close.
close.
Okay, good talk. All right, here's what I did.
But also, can I just really quickly put it on the record? I do have Elf technically as a better movie
Yes.
than the Santa
It was
Claus,
just
but I
tough.
can only
You
do so
couldn't-
much.
I couldn't do everything I wanted to do here. That's exactly right. So I switched Holdovers and Muppet Christmas Carol. So I moved Holdovers to 3, Muppet Christmas Carol down to 5.
Wow,
Okay.
wow.
Then I took Santa Claus and I moved it down to 9 and moved Kiss Kiss Bang Bang up to 6. So my list: 1, Christmas Story, or whatever you want to call that.
Tail.
Christmas Tale, 2 Elf, 3 Holdovers, 4 Carol, 5 Muppet Christmas Carol, 6 Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 7 Spirited, 8 Rare Exports, 9 Santa Claus, 10 Jingle Jangle. That's a great list. That's a great list. That's a list we can all be proud of. That's what that is.
I have
Your list a little.
Yeah,
Sure.
say it slower.
Number from 1 or from 10?
I got the first 5.
Okay, so 1 Christmas Tale, 2 Elf, 3 Holdovers, 4 Carol, 5 Muppet Christmas Carol, 6 Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 7 Spirited, 8 Rare Exports, 9 The Santa Claus,
Too low.
and 10 Jingle Jangle. Dude, you've not seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's better than the Santa Claus. It's all time great. I love my list. My only downer is that I want Elf and I want Holdovers 1, Elf 2, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang 3, and there was no way for me to do that. So I did
Right.
the best I could with what I had.
Okay. So, first of all, I have no problem with the Santa Claus. I think it's a very funny movie. I think it
Great.
totally holds up. My only complaint is that it has led a generation of people to misspell actual Santa Claus.
More than
name.
fair.
More than fair.
But you know what are you going to do? That's a sign that it has stuck in. And
Do you like it at 1 or do you like it at 9, Alonso?
Oh, there's that too. Muppet Christmas Carol, like I love the Muppets. Grew up on. I mean,
I know you do. That's why I kind of thought it might be in here.
I'm Generation 1 Sesame Street. Like I
Yeah.
love the Muppets. I love A Christmas Carol. My hot take on that movie is that the songs are not good.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I love Paul Williams. The songs he did for the Muppet movie are genius, and all of his hits of the 70s that he did for the Carpenters or whatever. Like he's brilliant. Love him in Phantom of the Paradise. Big fan. Don't love the Muppet Christmas Carol. song.
Great.
Wow.
as a college friend of mine and I were saying after we walked out of that movie, every song sounds like La 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 Christmas. And so that is
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
it's kind of
great,
cool
isn't
to
it?
me to that movie, but I
You
get
like that movie, right?
what works about it and why people love it. And there's a lot to love in it.
Home
That's
Alone
fine.
2.
Home Alone 2 is hot garbage, and y'all are both bad for liking it. Home Alone 1 is not really great either. You were 8. My ongoing refrain, was it great or were you 8? You were 8.
Both can be true at the same time.
So yeah, Home Alone 2 is,
And also,
is
I
worse
wasn't
than Home
8.
Alone 1. I don't even know, and I don't even love Home Alone 1. But Home
outta
Alone
here.
2 is like
Is maximalist fun.
makes less sense and is more violent and stupid.
What a hole.
Yeah.
And so yeah, pass. So by virtue of Home Alone 2 not being on the list, I'm going with Dan's.
Yeah, I thought you might.
And I don't hate it. I'm not going to make you make this a pseudonymous episode. I can live with that.
Yeah, I think both of our lists did well. I think you swung for the ever-loving Fences
Thank you.
with Santa Claus at
I made a bold move.
and Home Alone 2 in the top 5.
Yeah, I did.
That was a move. You like both of my choices. Like we all of our choices. We were.
I like your
we
choice.
both put Santa Claus in. I think that tells you where we are.
I'm not as high on Muppet Christmas as a lot of people my age and your age are, but I still adore it.
I think my thing is that Home Alone 2 is near and dear to my heart. So is Muppet Christmas Carol. So it was a no-brainer to me to go, okay, I don't have to have Home Alone, a sequel to Home Alone, and I can put Muppet Christmas Carol on there. So I love it. It's a great list. We did it. We dislist.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
And now you both have to go see A Christmas Tale, and Bran has to watch it again to remember what it even was.
You bet I will.
I didn't have a top. I didn't make a top 10 like you did. The only movies that weren't mentioned the only one movie on this list, one movie that I would kind of debate having on this list that wasn't mentioned at all was Love Actually. I actually like that movie. I know there's like half the stories are super problematic. I get it. I don't understand that. At the time that I saw it,
Sure, no.
it all worked. And then still to this day, if you watch it, you're like, yikes, a bikes. What was I thinking? And yet some of it still plays.
We learn a lot, don't we?
We do learn a lot.
We're kids. Never
We
stop
learn a
learning.
lot.
We grow up.
We do.
No,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that is a movie where that falls in the category of if you love it, I know why, and if you hate it, I know why.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's certainly it's a good one to have on mute just to look at it.
Can I tell you, not only that, but the Bill Nye storyline in that movie, where it's just a bromance. It's just like the person I love is my best friend.
Yeah.
Like I love my best friend, and we made music together, and that was why it was fun. It almost makes me forget some of the stuff that is in that movie. That you would even agree, that one storyline. Phenomenal. I would watch a whole movie of
Although
that.
that one also falls in the category of man falls in love with his employee.
It does a little bit. You're right.
Yeah, but in a less
I
gross
mean, he's
way.
his agent.
Yeah,
I don't know, like technically,
no, it's
but
not like an
that's
underling. Yeah, I get it, I get
They're
it.
at equal footing, which is nice. That one, that storyline. If the whole movie was that, and Bill Nye, national treasure.
And,
I mean,
and Emma Thompson crying.
Emma Thompson. Yeah, well, she just is unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's great.
Never
But
been
everybody. Alan Rickman.
Sure, no.
I mean,
look,
they're all Hugh Grant. They're
great cast,
Liam Neeson.
and you know Richard Curtis knows how to do the quips. But yeah, you take a second and start looking at what's going on here. You're just like, you're either creeping on you're somebody who works for you, or you're a stalker in this movie. It's kind of
It's true. Brain, anything that we missed out on?
No, I think that's good. You guys don't need to hear my top 10. No one needs that. I
think we do.
I don't need to be ridiculed. All right, I'll
Top
give
10.
you. All right, okay.
Top 10.
I'll go quickly. 10 Krampus.
Boo! No, I'm just kidding. I actually really like Krampus.
I like
Fun
Krampus.
movie.
I thought about Krampus.
9 Arthur Christmas.
Boo!
8 The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
The Grinch with Jim Carrey?
No.
7
Get in the trunk of the car.
If you had said the animated Grinch with Benedict Cumberbatch, maybe.
Maybe.
But with Jim
Maybe.
Carrey one, no.
7
Way better.
7 The Polar Express.
Oh
No.
my gosh. Bran.
6 Christmas with the Cranks.
Dude, Christmas, you may love Christmas, but Christmas hates you.
5 Jingle All the Way.
God almighty. There
You
isn't,
don't deserve
Christmas isn't real. It is a marketable fake thing.
4 The whole Jingle All the Way. No, wait, what did I say?
You said
Yeah,
5
that
for
was
Jingle
5.
All the Way.
Yes, sorry. 4 The Holdovers.
Okay.
3 Home Alone 2, 2, The Santa Claus, 1, Elf.
Yeah. I will say this. Your top 4, I love it. BrandonDeckTheHallmark.com for all you Polar Express Jingle All the Way Grinch with Jim Carrey stands out there.
Now I kind of almost wish I had put Unaccompanied Minors on this list just to troll y'all. But
yeah,
it
because
did
that
not
was
occur
a
to me,
trolling there. Those 3 movies.
I like that movie. It was not going to be in my top 10.
It is
thank you. I thought so. I thought so.
We will be back on Monday. We're talking about the Violent Night, which
Yeah, we
also
are.
could have been on the list.
A contender.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was in my honorable mention.
Here are our thoughts. Spoilers. Goodness.
Sorry.
Until next time, the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to DeckTheHallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to BrambleJamPlus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.